Yo, what is going on, guys? It's your boy Devin here, and we're back with another video. So guys, in today's video we're gonna be unboxing and also building this brand new gaming PC that I purchased all the parts from Canada Computers. And for those of you that are interested, I'll put a link to my PC part picker list down in the description, so if you guys are interested in checking it out, feel free to go ahead. So first we're going to go ahead and open up the case of the computer. So what I noticed is that this case actually looks really similar to like the Lian Li type of chassis that they sell. But honestly, I really like it, especially for the fact that I basically bought it for $100 to $150. And this was an extremely good deal compared to what you normally get. And the fact that it comes with about like 3 RGB fans and it has lots of airflow, it's got nice removable dust filters. I couldn't really ask for anything better. So first things first, we're going to open up this MSI Pro Z690A DDR4 motherboard. So I purchased this from Canada Computers for $249.99. This is the non-Wi-Fi variant, which means that if in order to get Wi-Fi, you're going to have to either use an Ethernet or a USB adapter. So now we have our 3070 Ti from EVGA. This is the For the Win Ultra Edition. And basically this graphics card ended up costing me $999 plus additional warranty and whatnot. But something I really like about this graphics card, regardless of the price, because I did buy this back in April and prices were a little bit more inflated back then, but basically this is a really sleek and nice looking graphics card. The RGB and the overall design is just way nice compared to all the other graphics cards in my opinion. I think this is just one of my personal favorites. So that's why I wasn't too concerned about splurging a little bit on this one. So here we have the Gamix L360 from Deepcool. So I actually purchased this for about $119. So I got this on sale from Canada Computers, and this is a really good liquid cooler. One thing I noticed is that it didn't have the proper brackets from Deepcool. So what I ended up having to do was go on their website and I had to order them for free. Well, they basically ship it to you for free. You just have to request and send them your receipt that you're looking for a specific 12th gen socket. So that way they'll ship you the correct mounting brackets for the cooler. This is the Western Digital SN770. This is the Western Digital Black Edition. It's 1TB PCIe Gen 4 NVMe M.2 SSD, and I purchased this for $134.99. Then we have our Corsair Vengeance RGB RAM. The RAM is clocked at 3200 MHz, which is C16 at 1.35 volts, and I purchased it for $104.99. Then we have our Intel Core i7-12700KF, which is our desktop processor. It has 12 cores, 8 performance cores, and 4 efficient cores, and it's an unlocked. We purchased it for $497. A week after I purchased this, they actually lowered the price on the processor, so I ended up getting it for $450. So I'm actually using one of my old EVGA 750 GQ power supplies from one of my older gaming PCs, but when I bought this back, it was about 3 or 4 years ago, and I purchased it for about $85.99. I'm actually replacing my other PC's power supply with a Seasonic Focus Plus 6580 plus gold $70 power supply. So now we're going to go ahead and install our processor into the motherboard. So just be careful when you're removing it that you don't bend any pins or anything. And yeah, just going to make sure you look for the arrow on the processor, and you're going to go ahead and line it up with the arrow that's found on your motherboard, and just place it down gently and firmly close the cover. You will need to apply a little bit of pressure, but don't worry, it'll be just fine. So now we're going to go ahead and install our M.2 SSD into our motherboard. So there are a couple slots on the motherboard. There is one that actually has a heatsink. It's right under the processor, but for this case I wanted easy access to my SSD, so I went ahead and put it on the lower level. So all you have to do is just insert it, and then just a little screw that comes inside of the motherboard box. Just going to want to use that to fasten the M.2 onto the motherboard. And once you do that, that's basically it. So now right before we're going to install this RAM, I just want to show for those of you that are unaware that when look on your motherboard, you can see that there's a little diagram, and I know it's a little hard to see because of the blurriness of the video, but you can basically see that it says DIM 1, DIM 2, DIM 3, and DIM 4. So you're going to see a little diagram and it says first. So you're going to want to, if you have two RAM sticks like I do, you're just going to want to put both of your RAM sticks into those slots. So in this case, it'll be RAM slot 2 and 4.
So what you want to do is make sure
So just make sure you take a look on your motherboard. If you're unsure, then go ahead and maybe check your manual. It'll usually tell you. Usually it's better to put your RAM in dual channel. Do not put them side by side. Make sure they're spaced out. That way they run more efficiently. However, if you have 4, then you don't have to worry about that. Just go ahead, put them all in each slot, and you're perfectly fine. So now we're gonna go ahead and open up our case. So as you can see, this is tempered glass, so make sure when you take it off you be really careful that you don't damage the glass because they are pretty fragile. On the left side, or the right side of the case actually is, so it's not tempered glass, which is something I really like. It helps a little bit to help hide some of the cables. It comes with this little box which is included with some of the brackets for the for the SSDs, as well as a little fan controller, which is what you can use to connect your case fans. So now we're going to try and put our AIO at the back of our case. Then we're going to go ahead and place our motherboard inside of our case. So you just need to be careful and try to line up all the screw holes with the proper holes, and then just make sure that you get this proper screws from your motherboard box, and you're free to just screw them in. So I did struggle a little bit here, try to line up the motherboard with the AIO, but once I was able to do so, I was able to easily just install the motherboard. Oh yeah, so here I am, I'm just screwing in a couple of the screws for the motherboard in order to secure it to the case. So now you're just going to want to just go ahead, assemble your liquid cooler, place your graphics card inside of the PC, and start doing some of the wiring. So I did a lot of this off camera, so I don't have too much footage of that, but once you finish that, you can go ahead and start installing Windows. Fast forward the build a little bit for you guys. So as you guys can see, so this motherboard actually has 2 pins for the CPU power. So I think one, I believe, is for giving power, and the other one is, I believe, is for overclocking. So since I'm not really going to be overclocking on this PC, then I just put one CPU pin. Here I've included a bunch of the fans, kind of hard to see because of the cam, but like I basically put like the CPU cooler here, the liquid cooler, then a bunch of the case fans have been plugged in. There's some plugged in at the back of the case, which is what I'll show you later. Motherboard power. RAM sticks are in slot 2 and 4 as stated on the motherboard. So basically I had to do a temporary fix where I just didn't have the proper bracket, because this is for the Intel Gen 12 Gen. So what I had to do was I went on their website and they shipped me the proper bracket for free, and just in order to get my PC up and running, I just did a diagonal pattern just to improvise a little bit there. So here we have our GPU. So I had to use 2 8-pin connectors in order to get our GPU up and running. That is not optional as like the motherboard where you can only use one. I'd recommend you need to use both and use separate connections to the power supply. Here we have our audio and then also USB connections to our case. One is 3.0, the other one is 2.0. And it basically just gives us power to our USB ports. And then we have our reset switch and power switch all connected right there. So we're going to go ahead and just power on the computer. I'll show you guys what it looks like. So as you can see, as you boot up the computer, the deep cool fans, or the ones that came with the case, they have their own separate RGB. Deep cool one has it like this remote that you're going to have to use to like change the colors manually. But the one with the case, you can use their software and the MSI software to change the color modes, which is what I'll showcase later on. So this is the rear of the case, and as you can see, the cables are really messy, but this is just me trying to get the computer up and working. And basically there's this little box right there, which is what you use to connect all the fans from the case. So then we have our power supply on the right side, and also I put my hard drive right there, but the thing is there's a little slot inside. You can just use a screwdriver and open it up, and you can directly connect your hard drive. I wanted easy access, so what I did was I used Velcro in order to put my hard drive right there on top of the power supply, but there is their own designated area for the hard drive. But overall, the case has lots of room. While I honestly thought it wasn't gonna have a lot because of how the case, like the case size is, it seemed a little bit on the smaller size. However, I see that it has more than enough room. You don't have to worry too much about the cable management because the right side of the case is a solid case. It's not like it's glass, so you won't be able to really see through the other side. As you can see, I have this remote right here, and this remote is basically for the liquid cooler. So as you can see, every time I press the button, it changes colors. You can play with the brightness later on. So this changes the colors. There's different modes. So let's say you use static, then it dims the fans. You guys can see. So yeah, I just want to show you guys what it looks like at the front. So as you guys can see, it's purple. So it changes the color of the Deep Cool logo on the liquid cooler, which is quite nice. One last look of the case before I close it up. So this is everything. As you guys can see, we got the liquid cooler, RAM, case fans, GPU, 3070 Ti. So I tried my best to manage all the cables. Unfortunately, some of them are a little bit, out there, but I tried my best to at least, give it the shortest route. So there is a couple of spacing between there. There's a couple like in between behind the motherboard. You can push cables behind, and a couple underneath. So that way you can make the cables look at least a bit more neat without too much effort. A little difficult to see, but as you can kind of see on the top right and also the bottom left, I actually only had 2 screws on the cooler. Now, there's a reason why I did this. So for this deep cool liquid cooler, the L360, it does not come with the appropriate bracket. So what I had to do was I went on Deepcool's website and I had to file a ticket. And from there I contacted with their support, and I basically ended up getting them to send me the proper bracket. The proper bracket for the L1700 in order to support my motherboard. So I actually got them to send me some thermal paste as well, and the bracket, they sent it for free. But in the meantime, while I was waiting, I basically had to just use the other bracket with just 2 screws. So it was cooling my CPU okay, but I want to make sure that it's cooled and it's on properly, so that's why I got the bracket. Basically, if you're looking to immediately put your PC together, I recommend getting a different cooler and make sure it has LGA 1700 so that you know that it'll work with the motherboard for Alder Lake. So just quickly, it comes with little brackets as well as the screws for the CPU cooler at the top. And it comes with some additional screws. And I also had to ask them for some extra thermal paste because I used mine up and they were nice enough to throw in a free packet, which was really cool. Deep cool. Thank you. So that's pretty much it for this video. I want to thank you guys all for watching, and I hope you guys all enjoyed. If you have any questions about how to build a PC or any general concerns, feel free to let me know down below and I'll try to help you out the best that I can. So as you can see here, we just have a couple of color options, and I found that by connecting the fans to my motherboard, I was able to use the MSI software for my motherboard to control the RGB colors of the case fans. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. Peace out.